All right, family, before we get into the rest of today's show, listen, nearly 75% of you all are not subscribed to the channel. Listen to me again. 75% of you all are not a part of the E3 community. And we are literally just expanding in the areas of abundance, wellness, and freedom. And that is the main focus of this year. So listen, if you're loving some of the content, you may not watch me every single week, but if you could just hit that subscribe button and be a part of this family, there are some extra perks that comes from just subscribing. We're giving out discounts in the AO store. We're having events solely just for the community, and you will get an email with the discount code and the VIP code and all the special things that's going on. So please hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on podcast, and I promise you, it's going to be amazing. When we hit 1 million on YouTube, I'm giving away a luxury quality used vehicle to one of my E3 community members on July 1st of 2025. So listen, hit that subscribe button and let's get back to today's show. God bless.
This is not the time to give up. Are you an emotional spender? Do you shop when you're stressed, when you're bored? What triggers us to spend money? Sometimes you don't have a spending problem. Some of us do have an actual income problem. If your job isn't paying you enough to build wealth, it might be time for a career change. You have to start thinking about not just what are you budgeting for today, not just what are you making today, but hey, you know what? What do I need to do to generate more income today, more income tomorrow? This is good. If I say yes to this, what is it making me say no to? So listen, hit that subscribe button, y'all, and rock out with your boy. But here's the very first thing, y'all, that I had to do when it came to myself. Like I'm gonna be exposing myself on today and allow you all to jump on the journey with me and figure out what are the things that you need to do. What are the things that you need to grab for yourself? And what are things like, no, I got it. But the very first thing I had to do was face my finances. The very first step is you've got to be real with yourself. We got to stop avoiding the issues. We got to stop not going to the mailbox. We got to stop not looking at our bank account before I'm at the end of every single month. We have to stop not looking at a credit report. We have to stop not budgeting. We have to stop not facing the reality of the truth. Watch this, we created. You have to look at your spending habits and be honest about where you currently are and where is your money going. Because the truth of the fact is, y'all, avoiding it is not going to change anything. It just makes the problems even worse. The sooner we can take control, the sooner we can sit at the head of our table, side note, the sooner you can make a plan to fix it, a plan to address it, you will become wealthy. When I faced my finances, I want to give you some practical things that I had to do. I want to give you some practical things that I had to do. Number one, I had to take inventory. I printed out my bank statement from the last 90 days. Okay. And I categorized every single expense. I pretty much put all my needs versus all my wants. And I wanted to see, am I spending more on wants than I am on needs, or am I spending more on needs than I am on my wants? And watch this. When I wrote down things in my needs, can I be honest with you? Some of them were really wants. They weren't needs. And so I want to propose to you that when you pull up your bank statements and you categorize them here within the next 30 days, because this is going to be the assignment over the next 30 days, I need you to figure out what are your true needs and list out all your wants, but make sure that your needs are taken care of. You see, when I took inventory, I had to also, number two, up underneath really looking at my current financial situation, I got to know my debt. I had to literally pull my credit report, okay? And I had to list out every single debt, and right next to it, what I honestly did, because the credit report doesn't really show the current balance, I actually called each lender and I asked them for the current balance and the next 90-day payoff. Not the next 90 day, but what is the 90-day payoff? Because if I can ask for a payoff within the next 90 days, they'll go ahead and add the interest on and everything so I can know how much money I have to spend on this particular item if I want to pay it off. So I listed my debt, right? And any debt that I knew that I was going to pay off within the next 90 days, I called and asked them for a 90-day payoff letter. So that way I could see how much money I have to spend over the next 90 days. Because I want to know how much debt that I'm in. And some of us, we are not going to like the picture that we paint. But here it is. We painted it. We painted the debt situation that we're in. We've painted the money situation that we're in. We look good on the outside, but our bank accounts look horrible. So I told you, you got to check your credit report. Then here's the number 4 thing. Here's number 4 up underneath that. I really had to understand what triggers me to spend money. Are you an emotional spender? Do you shop, watch this, when you're stressed, when you're bored? This is the table. I could be real. Do you spend money to distract you when you just got out of a relationship, when you just broke up with him or her? Brothers, do we spend money when we meet a new girl and we trying to wow her so we can have some sex? What triggers us to spend money? Can I be honest with you all? I wrote down all my triggers. And one thing that triggers me to spend money is when I see a brand new car come out that I like. What triggers me to spend money is when I get just a little bored. I get a little bored driving the same car and I'm seeing all these other dope cars and I'm like, man, this car is paid for. Do y'all know how many times I've been to the car dealership within the last year, just looking at the new things that pop up? I don't think there's nothing wrong with it because I always tend to snap back into it. I'm like, all right, bro, go home. You don't need this. Like literally, you have 2 amazing cars and they're paid for. You don't need the same car just with a front light. Now, they give me an amazing deal to where I could trade one in and pay very, 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 very minimum. I might pull the trigger. But if I got to drop more than 10 grand on a car right now, I ain't doing it. Just not doing it. Because I love having no car payments. I love having the freedom, right? So I had to write down what triggers me and be aware of those triggers and do not allow those triggers to pretty much control how I spend money. And I know that sometimes for me, I tend to spend money if I'm getting out of a relationship. I'll just go and just treat me to something real, real, real nice to kind of distract me. And that's my trigger. That's me being honest. We all have triggers. What's your trigger and are you aware of that trigger? The last thing that I've done with myself that I think has been very, very great, and honestly, I enjoy it for myself because I love this night and this evening for me is I set a money date with myself. I set a money date. Whether you want to do this weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, make it a habit to check in on your finances, review your progress, and adjust your budget. And it feels good going to, I always take myself to my favorite restaurant here in Flavorture. Here in DC, it's called Flavorture. My homeboy and big sis own it, Chef Pinky and Chef Mac. Here in DC, and man, I'll go over there. I got my same old seat. I think I sit at seat number 16. And I go there. I have my phone. I'll have sometimes like my iPad, and I'll be eating, have a nice little cocktail, and I'll just go through all my investments. I'll go through my business income. I'll go through my personal income. I'll go through my budgeting. I'll pull up my bank statements and see like, ooh, I could do a little bit better over here. I remember one time in there, that's when I realized, I was like, yo, bro, you're spending a lot on DoorDash. Now it's going down a little bit, but we could do a little bit better. Yo, bro, you've been spending a lot of money here at Flavoriture. Why not invest into them? And so we've been talking about me investing into the company to help them expand and help them grow, right? It's like I'm always setting a date with myself to where I'm being intentional about looking at my finances. Watch this. Two things I'm being intentional about this year for myself. Because what I've learned is the reward for intentionality are results. And so what you're intentional about, you will see fruitful results. And so I'm being intentional about posturing myself as a better man that attracts an amazing woman. That's one thing. Then I'm being intentional around my finances on investing into more assets and keeping my liabilities and my fun things at a low in 2025. So I'm investing in things that's going to bring me peace, that's going to bring me more education, that's going to bring me more money, that's going to help me build wealth streams. Remember in one show previously, I talked about the difference between income streams and wealth streams. I don't want income streams. I want wealth streams. And I don't have time to break it all down today on today's show. But Ed, Michelle, make sure we find out what show that is and let's link it inside the show notes so they'll know like, hey, this is the income versus wealth streams, because we got to get out of the mindset of building multiple income streams and start building multiple wealth streams.
All right, fam, let's have a heart to heart. You all know that I'm all about helping you get your money. But let me ask you this question. How's your credit report looking? And if you're being honest and you're saying, you know what, Ayo, I need some help, well, listen, I got something for you. Listen, I know credit can feel like this big, confusing thing, but with Kickoff, it doesn't have to be. They've designed a super simple, affordable way to help you build your credit, whether you're just starting out or need to bounce back from a rough patch. Here's how it works. Kickoff reports to the major credit bureaus to help you establish a positive credit history. And you can get started for as little as $5 a month. No credit check, no crazy interest fees at all, no hidden fees, so just a straightforward way to improve your financial standing. And here's why it matters the most, because it is not just about a number, it is about financial freedom and doors opening up for you. Do you want that dream apartment? Do you want lower car insurance and even better job prospects? It all starts with making sure you have a good credit profile. So don't wait. Head over to anthonyoneal.com/kickoff. That's anthonyoneal.com/KIKOFF and start your first month for just as little as $1. Listen, it's anthonyoneal.com/kickoff, KIKOFF. You get it for $1. So let's get you some lower rates, especially in 2025.
And one of the things that prevents us from building multiple wealth streams is the lack of money, is the lack of preparation for when life happens, which leads me to the number 2 thing you got to do this year. Y'all, we got to build a solid emergency fund, because the truth of the fact is life happens. And if we're not prepared for one, if we're not prepared for just a 30 days of unexpected expenses to happen, because life is going to happen, that's going to prevent us from building that's going to prevent us, from building wealth. And I tell you all, the basics for me is start by building 30 days of your net pay inside of a high yield savings account that sits in your SoFi account. SoFi is going to give you $300 plus give you up to 4% interest. Remember, I taught this on one of my shows before too. Why is it important to have a high yield savings account compared to a standard savings account? Well, the average standard savings account is 0.05%. The average high yield savings account is going to be in between 3.5 to 5% of interest rate. Well, Anthony, 3.5 to 5%, that's not a lot of money. Agreed, it's not a lot of money. But the thing is, when it comes to parking your money inside a savings account, is that you want your money to be growing with inflation. So if inflation goes 2 to 3% a year, you want your money growing 2 to 3% a year. If inflation goes up 1% and you go up 2.5%, well, that means your money outgrew inflation. That's why if you're going to have your money sitting inside of a high yield savings account by putting maybe just 1 month of your net pay inside of a high yield savings account, then eliminating your debt. After you eliminate your debt, you're going to put 3 to 6 months of your net pay inside of this SoFi high yield savings account. Then now your money is keeping up. Last month alone, because I went further and beyond. I have saved 1 year of my net pay that I pay myself, right? So this way I can cover mortgage, golfing, traveling, whatever that is. I paid my average 1 year of net salary that I paid myself, and I put that inside of a high yield savings account. So that's over, a good 6 figures. Last year, that account made me $700. Not last year, last month, that account made me $700. So we're going to drop SoFi's information inside of today's show notes. Yo, click on it, because I don't know how much longer they're going to be giving you $300 for this particular account. But I promise you right now, if you go to anthonyoneal.com/savings, it's going to be amazing. But I also want to say this, your emergency fund, because I talk about this often, your emergency fund is not your fund money. All right. This is not single people. This is not your line item on your budget, because you should have this on your budget. This is not your dating money. This is not, ladies, your hair money, your makeup money, your nails money. Your emergency fund is like, oh shucks, I just broke a nail. Oh shucks, it was just raining, my hair got messed up. No. That's not that. No. That should be a separate line item on your budget. But your emergency fund is not to be touched unless it is an extreme emergency. And to be honest with you, I have 2 particular items within my budget. I have an emergency fund, then I have a miscellaneous fund. A miscellaneous fund, I may have like an extra $500 to $1,000 just sitting there, for an example. Some of you may just have a miscellaneous fund of $100 to $300 on your budget that, hey, something may happen, something may maneuver around. Instead of you going to your emergency fund, you go to your miscellaneous fund. And that's what I tend to do. If something happens throughout the day or throughout the month, within that particular budget, and I didn't allocate for that, I look at my miscellaneous. If I have an extra $200 sitting there for the miscellaneous spending, and I have a $100 miscellaneous budget that comes up, like a friend asked me to come out to a dinner and I spent $75. Okay, cool, great. I'm gonna take that out of my miscellaneous if I don't have it inside of my food fund. All right. And so this is super crucial to all of us. And some of you are probably saying, Anthony, but I don't even know how to start. Well, let me tell you how to start. Start small and just be consistent. Even if you can only start with $50, put $50 inside this high yield savings account. Then as you're working your way up, as you're gaining more money, as you're going back to your budget, as you're going back and looking at your finances and seeing where you can move things and allocate things differently, then you'll go on up. The goal again is to set aside 1 month of your net pay right now, because if 40% of the American people cannot afford a $1,000 cash emergency without financing it, without putting it on a credit card, you're going to be ahead of 40% of the people in America. Let me put it like this. You're going to be ahead of 40% of your friends. And so to do that, you got to automate your savings. Set up on automatic transfers every single time you get paid until you reach your goal. But if you're going to set up automatic transfers by building a high yield savings account, you got to cut I would say this, non-essential expenses. Redirect money, right? From unnecessary subscriptions, dining out, and impulse spending into your emergency fund. Maybe you need to pause on some of those apps. Maybe you need to pause on some of those subscription things that you have and just redirect it into your emergency fund. Because I'm going to tell you and be honest with y'all, man, my Lord Jesus. It feels so good to know when the world is stressing, I might be a little concerned, but I'm not fearful because I have an emergency fund. If I was to lose everything in my business right now, if I had to shut down my business right now, I will be good for 1 year. I will be so good for 1 year. I wouldn't have to change my lifestyle, and as determined and as focused as I am and creative as I am, I can find money within a year. Heck, to be honest with you, give me 90 days to 6 months. I'll find a way to make me some more money. And what I love about it is I'm debt free. I'm debt free. So I don't have any major bills outside of my consumer debt. Not consumer debt. I don't have any consumer debt, but outside of my non-consumer debt, which are mortgages, I'm good. I don't have to sell my cars. I can cook from the house. I got a beautiful house with a great grill. Like I'm straight. Some of you are going to get some tax refunds this year. You got to use your extra wisely. Tax refunds, bonuses, side hustle income. Instead of splurging, I want you to put 50% of that into your savings until you hit your savings goal. All right? So some of y'all are saying, well, Anthony, I don't have, what's the word? I don't have enough extra, I don't have extra money to be effective with it and to put that money inside of my savings account. Cool, great. Which leads me to number 3, something that I'm working on this year too. How do we increase your income? Let's be real. Sometimes you don't have a spending problem. Some of us do have an actual income problem. If your job isn't paying you enough to build wealth, it might be time for a career change, or maybe bringing in a side hustle that can supplement what your job is not doing. I want you to consider industries like tech. I recently sat down with my friends over at Careers to talk about breaking into quality assurance, QA in tech. There's no coding required, just the right training and the willingness to learn. And opportunities are out there. You just have to go after them. And what I love about the quality assurance program is because you could do that from home, you can honestly be working that job and the QA tech job at the same time. So now you have 2 full-time jobs, and you do that for a season to help you get out of debt, to help you build your savings account up, to help you build your investments up, maybe to help you get into a home. But if you are strategic, you can do this. I call this assess your earning potential. You got to start researching your salaries in your industry and see if you're underpaid. And some of us are honestly overpaid. Not a lot, but some are. So do the research to see, okay, wait a minute. Am I underpaid? What is the average hourly? What is the average yearly rate going for? And then after that, once you assess, one of the things you need to be doing too is consistently investing into high income skills. Consider fields like sales, project management, or freelancing. Look into certification or online courses, or even some form of education to help you get there. One of the things that I'm doing this year is 2025. I'm stepping back, right? I'm stepping back on going extremely, extremely hard. So my income, my business will lose some income this year. It will lose some income. What do you mean, Anthony? Well, because I'm telling y'all to do what I'm doing. We have to stop thinking about how much money I can make today and how much money I can make tomorrow. But how much money can I be making in the next 10 years, 20 years? And what's going to put me in the best position within the next 10 to 20 years? And when I stepped back and I really thought about it, I said, man, what's going to put me in the best position in the next 10 to 20 years is ABC. Can't really say it because I don't want to release what I'm working on just yet publicly. When I step back and I assess, okay, in this influencer world that I'm in, that I'm making millions of dollars in, right? Is this sustainable the way that we're all going about it? And what does the next 10 years look like? What does the next 20 years look like? And if I'm being honest with you all, y'all, I don't want to be 60 years old on YouTube. I don't. I want to have the business and pass it off to someone who is younger, more vibrant, and like is passionate about this and taking it to the next level. I'm looking forward to that, but I don't want to be 60 years old coming into this studio and having to record YouTube videos for the rest of my life. No, I don't. I don't want to do that. So when I step back and when I assess what does the next 20 years look like, when I step back and I said, I need a little bit more income. And I need a little bit more income so that my income can produce other income for me. But in order for me to get to where I want to go within the next 20 years, I needed more education. More education puts me in a place where my company, after I finish my PhD, my doctoral program within the next 3 years, I finished my MBA this year, and then my PhD in about 2.5 years, I'll be 44, 40, hitting on 45. That will put me in a position to where my company can do $15 to $20 million a year. Now my company does $15 to $20 million a year by that time. Now, watch this. I can take half of that income and put it all in investments and get the power of compound interest. Now, when I turn 60, for the next 15 years, I just lay back and just be strategic, and I just properly invest the money that I have. By 60, I should have 20-something million dollars sitting in an investment portfolio, and I'm just pulling from the compound interest of it. So what we have to do is when you're thinking about more income, you have to start thinking about not just what are you budgeting for today, not just what are you making today, but hey, you know what? What do I need to do to generate more income today, more income tomorrow, and have more income in the next 10 to 15 years? What do I have to do? And sometimes that does mean stepping back, going to school, stepping back, getting a certificate, stepping back, going to a trade school, stepping back, going to see careerists, stepping back and getting the skills and the education needed to put you in a place that sets you up for longevity. Because a lot of people today are making a lot of money today, but they're not going to be making long money a long period of time. I would rather make $100 million over 15, 20 years than make $20 million in 3. How do we strategize? But part of your strategy, which leads me to number 4, is you got to budget for some fun and for some joy. Y'all, I think, one of the things that I've learned in my life, and I feel bad about it, is I think sometimes I've made it seem like I want you to live like a robot. That I want you to eat beans and rice, like Dave Ramsey will say, which I don't even think that's Dave. I don't think he wants you to solely be eating beans and rice for the rest of your life, because he doesn't. Like, I don't want you driving a Honda Accord for the rest of your life if you don't want to. No. I still want you to enjoy your life. I still want you to enjoy the life that God has given you. In John chapter 10, I think it is, right around verse 10, it says, Jesus came that you and I may have life, and may have life more abundantly. That's joy. That's peace. That's a Bentley. That's your dream home. That is whatever you desire. Jesus wants you to accomplish that. But the key, here is the key. We got to be good stewards of it. We got to budget for it. We got to plan for it. We got to strategize for it. It's not the time to be spontaneous with your money. It's not the time waking up today, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go buy this. No. When I bought my Bentley, I saved for 5 years. Watch this. When I was planning for my Bentley, I bought another car in between, knowing that the next car was going to be my Bentley. Ooh, this is good teaching. So I bought a car below my budget and didn't use all of my money that I was saving for the Bentley to buy that particular car. I did not. So let's say, for an example, to break it down, let's say if I had $60,000 in an account, I took $30,000 to buy a car, and I kept $30,000 inside a savings account to go towards the ultimate goal. I could have went and spent all 60 grand on a nicer car, for an example. Those are not the actual numbers, right? But no. I tell myself no to that, because it didn't align with the financial goals that I had set aside. And so I really want us to understand that if we can sit here and create a fun fund, right? This is where we set aside specific amounts each month for entertainment, social activities, for anything else that you want, then we're going to get to where we want to go. But this is not, I'm going to my emergency fund and I'm going to go pay for some fun. No. So a couple quick things, real quick, up underneath this. So I can get to the other two things, get you all out of here. I'm trying to do these 30-minute shows and we're not doing it because I just love talking, right? I want you to create a fun fund. I want you to plan for joy in advance. And I want you to learn how to completely say no, right? You don't have to attend every single dinner. You don't have to go to every single happy hour. And you don't have to go on every single trip with your girls, ladies, all right? Prioritize what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, I want you to be in a position to where when you find your spouse, man or woman, that you are prepared financially for that spouse, and your response is not going to be, oh, you know what, y'all? I spent too much money on having too much fun. So now I can't even really show up to my husband. I can't show up to my wife and be like, yo, I was ready for you. No. Before I have fun, I'm always looking at what is the cost of the fun? How much is it going to cost me to have fun? Not just financially, but if I spend money over here, if I say, yes, this is good. If I say yes to this, what is it making me say no to? If I say yes to spending $3,000 on a summer vacation this year, what does that $3,000 spending over here cost me over there? What am I saying no to in the future? Or what am I saying no to in the present? And right now in my life, I told you all, I'm investing into assets. My future wife is an asset. My future children are assets. So I'm making sure that I am positioning myself to when God blesses me with them, they can see how much they meant to me before they even met me. I'm still going to do a vacation, but I may have to cut it from a $3,000 to $1,500. I'm still going to drive my car, but now I may have to drive that car instead of trading it in every year and a half, 2 years. I trade it in every 8 years. I drive it for 10 years. You see what I'm saying? Because I do not want my yeses to force me to say no to something that is tremendously more important, that it has more value in my life, but because I said yes to a liability, I got to say no to an asset. Which leads me to the fifth thing that we have to do this year is that we have to renew our minds about money. You see, financial stress, if I'm being real with you, y'all, it's not about numbers. It's not about finances. It's not. It is about our mindset. If we don't change the way we think about money, the way that we see money, the way that we interpret money, the way that we interact with money, we'll always end up back where we started. Because if we can't change the mindset that money is a tool, right? If we can't get there, we're always going to be broke. One of the best ways to shift your mindset is by educating yourself. A great resource to read, we're going to put up here on the screen, is my latest book. Because this book, Take Your Seat at the Table, is not a book of the practical things that you have to do about your finances. And where's my book? I think I have it right here, right? This book, Take Your Seat at the Table, is about how do we shift the mindset and prepare our minds, our heart, our soul, our body about wealth, and how do we interact with money? How do we take a seat at the head of our life? And we've already sold thousands of copies of this book. And if you buy this book, I'm going to give you some bonuses with this book to help you go from mindset to practical. From mindset to practical. All right. So we're going to put this link inside the show notes. Go to anthonyoneal.com/book. You're going to purchase the book there. And then I'm going to send you some practical things that will help you with your money. All right. I break it all down inside my book on how to change your money beliefs. One of the things I talk about in the book is adopting a life of abundance. I want you to adopt an abundance mentality. Instead of focusing on what you lack, instead of focusing on what you don't have, I want you to see money as a tool and create major opportunities and start focusing on what you have. So how do we go from focusing on what we lack, what we don't have, to focusing on what the opportunities that we can create that can generate wealth? But it starts up here. How do we get this mindset to start thinking like that? How do we go from thinking I'm single and I'm alone to thinking, man, I'm single, but I can build wealth? I gotta go. And so I talk about all of that inside of the book, down to visualizing your financial future, down to how to surround yourself with like-minded, wealthy individuals, and how do we challenge our own money beliefs. All of that is inside of the book. But especially visualizing that financial future. Man, that's probably one of my most favorite things. Where's my Bible? Let me get my Bible. Y'all getting a real and authentic version of AO today, y'all. Y'all pray for me. I gotta get me a new Bible, man. Not a new Bible. I'm gonna get them to buying this stuff, y'all. This is my Bible, man. My mama gave me this Bible when I was going through hell, and I wanted to make sure that you know what I'm saying, I keep it, because this Bible has gotten me through everything. Today, y'all, I want to take y'all's attention as we close onto the scripture. I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. The plans, the strategic plans of the diligent lead to income, leads to profit, leads to wealth streams, as surely as being haste leads to poverty. When you haste, it means you're throwing it away. When you throw away money, you're broke. It leads to poverty. It leads to you being broke. It leads to you needing and wanting and desiring more. You know, Robert Kiyosaki, who I'm not a fan of all of his teaching, he says something that was actually really good. He said, if you want to be financially free, you need to become a different person than you are today and let go of whatever has held you back in the past. If you want to become wealthy, you got to change who you are today. And you got to come up with a plan. That's Bible. That's not Anthony. Change who you are. Come up with the plan. And you'll be wealthy. Y'all, I'm way over my time by 9 minutes, but it's actually better than 20 minutes. I think my team will be pleased of it. It's your boy, Anthony O'Neal. See you in the next show. Peace out.